this is Luminary Zion, and I'm diabetic in Japan. Today, I'd like to talk with you about insulin pump options in Japan. The main thing that you need to know is there's only one option. You're only able to acquire the Medtronic MiniMed Paradigm. I've been told it's version 722. This is mine that I got, and they don't by default come in colors. You have to make a big deal about it, but it is possible if you fight for it. The biggest thing you're going to need to know is that not all hospitals that care for diabetes also work with insulin pumps. There's actually a very limited list of them. There is a list though, it's online, and I got a hold of that list by contacting the Japanese Medtronic representative, and I'm going to share that list with you. Link down below. It looks like that. Once you're able to find a hospital in your local area that works with insulin pumps, then you're going to need to make a case with your doctor for the insulin pump. Then you're also, once you get them to agree to it, you're going to need to stay in the hospital for a week. Why they ask you to stay in the hospital is completely beyond me. They don't teach you carbohydrate counting, wizard mode, or any of the other options for the pump. You're going to have to research that on your own. They don't teach you much of anything except for how to set up a basal and how to input a manual bolus for a meal. That's really the only two things they teach you. Medtronic has the manual for the Paradigm available online in English. It's essentially the same thing, and you can use that to figure out a lot of the more advanced features if you're interested in that. If you do want to learn to count carbs while you're in the hospital, your best option is pretty much just to ask for nutritional information for any of the meals that they plan to give you, because hospitals in Japan, to my knowledge, in my experience, always plan out their meals way in advance, and they'll be able to give you that information if you ask for it. But you have to ask for it. I suggest basically going through your doctor. Also, for the most part, most of the staff on hand, they have very specific orders, and they only do what they're told. They are not really going to be able to help you change anything about your plan. And so the person who has control over that kind of thing is actually your doctor. So any kind of requests, special requests, anything that you have, go through your doctor. Develop a good relationship with a doctor that's going to work with you and understands that you're going to take control of your diabetes. And then you'll be able to move forward in a lot more easy manner. Another thing to be really careful about, if you remember in my other video, I told you about how in Japan the basis for treatment of diabetes is fixed insulin therapy. And you can work around that. You can actually get past that and move on to carb counting therapy. But the hospital systems, the way that things are set up, is based on fixed insulin therapy. So in order to prescribe insulin to you, your doctor is going to put in some numbers as your fixed insulin therapy, and that's going to calculate how much insulin he's allowed to give you. When you go into the hospital for your insulin pump, they're going to try to give you fixed insulin therapy again. And that almost killed me on my first day. My very first meal in the hospital, they tried to tell me exactly how many units of insulin to inject, even though that was way more, like 3 times more than what I actually needed for the meal. And that would have been really bad, because I'm still really insulin sensitive. So a little bit of insulin goes a long way. I flat refused. I said absolutely not, and they tried to pressure me. They even tried to say that it was the doctor's orders. It was not actually the doctor's orders. That's just what the system said they were supposed to do. I refused. I said no, that's not the plan that I've worked out with my doctor, and I refused to eat. I refused to do anything until they consulted with my doctor, and then my doctor gave them permission to let me handle my own diabetes, and then I was able to decide my own injection at that point. So be very careful your first day in when you go in to get your insulin pump. If you're insulin sensitive at all, then you're gonna need to fight for it, because the system is not designed for someone who's taking control of their diabetes like we are. The next thing I want to tell you about is actually the supplies. The insulin pump system in Japan is different than in the United States because I don't own this pump. I rent this pump. I pay for a monthly fee for my pump rental, and I pay for my insulin. But I don't pay for the insulin vials, I don't pay for my infusion sets and that kind of stuff. That is sent to me by mail every month or so. For free. I don't have to pay anything for that. That also means I'm limited in terms of the supplies that I'm allowed to use. I don't know so much about quantity because so far they send me way more than I actually personally need, so I haven't challenged that. But in terms of the types of supplies, the two infusion sets that are supported in Japan are the Silhouette inserter and the Quickset inserter. So I've tried both. Honestly, I'm not a big fan of the Silhouette because the punching mechanism, it feels like I'm basically getting kicked in the gut. It's not fun for me, but it is an option. I personally go with the Quickset, and I find that it works well for me. These are the only two options available in Japan, so this is the one that I personally go with. Now this is what goes into the pump itself in your insulin area. This, they only have, well, they technically have the 1.5 milliliter size and the 3 milliliter size, but I've been told when I asked for the smaller size that this is mostly what they carry, and that there's a very high probability that they won't be able to send me the 1.5 milliliter size, even though it is technically on the docket. It's something that they claim to have that I've never been able to receive. I mentioned before about insulin pump color. So by default, the pump that you get is kind of a grayish, they call it clear or white color. It's like a gray color. I think it's the default color. But they do actually have other colors. I think they have pink, blue, and obviously purple. Google Medtronic and Paradigm, and you can see a lot of the example pumps there and figure out the color that you want. Tell your representative what color you want to have, and if that's not available, what would be your next best option, and be willing to accept it if they say that they're not able to get a hold of a pump in the color that you want. Here's a funny part about learning to use your Paradigm pump in Japan. The pump itself does not come in Japanese. Yay for me, I don't have to read Japanese on my pump. It's all in English. As a result of that, all of the instructions that you're going to get, it's not going to tell you menu options and stuff like that. They're going to say like, press the act button once, press the up button 3 times. You know, they'll say stuff like that in terms of how to navigate the menu instead of telling you what options to select and how. Other accessories, you know, I am a big fan of the belt clip. They also have a waistband that you can use. I believe they have the leg strap as well, although I have not personally ordered it. As for Medtronic CGM, if you are interested in using Medtronic CGM, I'm personally not using the Medtronic CGM. I use the Dexcom CGM, but I believe it would be possible to do it. The Medtronic 722, it is capable of doing CGM, but here's the thing. It's technically against the rules. You're not supposed to, and if you tell your doctor that you're going to, then you might lose your insulin pump. So don't say anything about it to any of your Japanese service providers. It seems possible. There's a menu option in here for CGM and the remote options, although it's not something that I have tried to do for myself. I have tried to use the USB CareLink system. I've been informed that this is the UK bandwidth version of the Medtronic pump. In fact, I actually still don't have the USB CareLink dongle for the UK style pump. If anyone out there is in the UK or has access to, even someone that I could send an email to ask for this kind of supply, please do let me know, because I still don't have one. I still have to log all my insulin manually. The last thing to cover is, of course, our weekly Japanese. So today I would like to teach you the Japanese word for carbohydrates. Carbohydrates. The word in Japanese is tansui-kabutsu. So if I say it really fast, tansui-kabutsu. Tansui-kabutsu. And if you're looking on packaging for carbohydrates, you're gonna see sometimes this box here that has the nutritional information. The one you're looking for is this 4-character kanji here. Tansui kabutsu. Okay? And in terms of your serving size, that's up here. That's it for today. Until next time, I'll see you.